Hi friends, I'm Jennifer Alessio, the children's pastor here at Heights Church. I'm so glad that you joined me for today's devotional because we're going to be talking about the Holy Spirit and specifically how the Holy Spirit ignites us. We see throughout the Bible that the Holy Spirit is the actual fire of God. In the book of Acts, when the believers were filled with the Holy Spirit for the first time, actual tongues of fire came to rest above their heads. And then we see in Exodus that when God called Moses and he spoke to him through the fire of a burning bush. And when we come to know Jesus, the Holy Spirit comes to live inside of us and it ignites us and it gives us a passion to serve him and to serve God by loving God, serving him, loving others, serving them, and building up God's church. And at that time, the Holy Spirit does the most amazing thing in our lives. It gives us actual spiritual gifts. All of them are different. Everybody's giftings are different. And God did that intentionally so that we can all come together and give glory to him, to further his church, to encourage others by using our giftings. And the Apostle Paul tells Timothy in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 6, this very thing. This is why I remind you to fan into flames the spiritual gift God gave you when I laid my hands on you. So God's Spirit, the Holy Spirit of God, gives us giftings, and it's our job to fan them into flame by using them to serve others, to love God, to love others, and to build up God's church. Now, when I first came to know the Lord, I was so excited and I wanted to share with others what I had learned about him, and I wanted to serve God any way I could, but I didn't know how to start that process. And so I just took upon every opportunity to serve him that I could. I hosted women Bible studies in my home. I served on women's teams. My husband and I led a life group together. I helped out in children's ministry, and I even helped in the children's ministry portion of divorce care at my church. Eventually, through prayer, through listening to the promptings and leadings of the Holy Spirit, I came to see that God had called me to be a children's pastor, and that's how I'm still serving him today. But I know as I continue along my journey, he's going to continue to show me other giftings that I have. And that when other trusted pastors and friends in the Lord come alongside and show me as well, I know that God is leading me in certain directions to follow and serve him. And he's going to do the same thing for you. But our challenge, and this is something that I've seen in my own life, is that sometimes when we look at how God is working in someone else's life and we think, oh, wow, that's really exciting. I'd like to do that too. But what when we do that is we take our eyes off of how the Holy Spirit is leading us in our own lives, and we look at how he's leading us in someone else's life. And that's not what he's calling us to do. He wants us to pay attention to how he's prompting to serve him in our own lives with our own unique giftings and our own special way, because God needs us to do that. His plan for his church is vital that we pay attention to the promptings of his Holy Spirit, or we're going to miss out on the ways that he wants to use us, because he's not going to show us how he's using us through someone else's life. He's going to show us how he wants to use us by paying attention to how he's working in our own life. And that reminds me of a story. This morning, I was out running, and I was running at a pretty good pace for me, which is about an 11-minute mile pace. And behind me, this woman comes up. She's about my age, and she just smoked me. She obviously was running at a 6, 7, 8 mile pace. And my initial thought was that I needed to hurry up and catch her. I wanted to hurry up and catch her. But right away, I heard the whisper of the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit said, Jennifer, no, you need to run at a pace that's good for you. Don't look at what she's doing. And then the Holy Spirit reminded me of the fact that it's really amazing that I'm running at all. This is actually my only third run after recovering from knee surgery. And that it wasn't that long ago that I couldn't run, I couldn't ride a bike, and I couldn't really walk for any length of time. And that I should be really grateful of how God is working in my life. And that's the same as how we need to look at how God is working in our own lives, because he's doing something exciting in us. We don't need to look at how he's doing something exciting in someone else, because our job is to follow how he is leading and guiding us on our own journey. And so I have a challenge for all of us today. The first is to spend some time in prayer and ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to us how he wants to work in us today. What giftings is he wanting us to use to serve others and to build up God's church? And the second, after the Holy Spirit reveals that to us, is to come up with a plan to start acting on that. What do we need to do? Who do we need to talk to? Maybe it's talking to a pastor at church. Maybe it's filling out a volunteer form to serve. Maybe it's spending some time in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 to dive deeper into all those spiritual gifts. Maybe it's taking a spiritual gift. Whatever it is, the Holy Spirit will guide you. And I just want to leave you with this encouragement that the Holy Spirit is for you and that he is cheering you on as you are journeying with Jesus. Have a blessed day, friends.